Well, it's mainly young people showing their absolute terror about the climate crisis, and I guess they feel it's so important to raise their voices that they're taking some time off school today to guarantee themselves time on Earth in the future.
So how did it start, the Youth Strike for Climate?
Well, I think a lot of people will have heard of Greta Thunberg, the Swedish student who started the Youth Strike for Climate movement, the Fridays for Future, I think she called it. And I think it's continued through there, although, you know, we had the pandemic in the way, which really kind of quashed the enthusiasm for these Friday protests from the youth. But now, I think they're trying to get them going again, especially with COP27 as we speak.
What do you want? Climate justice! Why do you want it? Now! Why do you want? Climate justice! Why do you want it? Now! What do you want? Climate justice! Why do you want it? Now!
Yesterday, I bought some chips from a takeaway. Bear with me. Yeah, bear with me, it's going somewhere. I ate them whilst thinking about how bad of me it was to get them in a single-use container. I felt guilty. I live in a modern-day society, and quite often I need to make journeys in my car. They vary in distance, but each one the same, because every time I open and close that car door, I feel a deep-set guilt.
At 2 degrees of warming, the Potsdam Institute, which some of you may have heard of, it's a leading climate research institute, estimates that the entire Greenland ice sheet and the entire Antarctic ice sheet will be in unstoppable collapse, which will in total deliver 3 meters of sea level rise, wiping out 410 million people or displacing them.
5 million people globally, the most deprived, the people who are not cared about, die each year due to extreme temperatures caused by climate change. And that number, every single year, is indubitably rising. And it will keep rising. And that's not even counting the floods, the increased frequency of hurricanes, the wildfires. When will we realize that those in power now are not here to save us from these realities?
Another thing that 2 degrees means? 2 degrees means that, to all intents and purposes, every bit of wild coral reef in the world will be dead. What do people think that means? Anyone take a guess?
Unstable environment.
Unstable environment, yeah. So 25% of the world's fish stock live in coral reefs, and they provide the base for the entire ocean food chain. So if the coral reefs go, and that 25% suddenly don't have that place to live, it means that the entire of the ocean's food chain will collapse, causing an ecological collapse. Now, how many people in the world do you think rely on fish to eat and survive for their main protein source? How many communities?
A lot.
Yeah, about 1 billion people. So that's 1 billion people who suddenly won't have anything to eat, because by the end of the century, if all the coral reefs die, the entire global fish stock will collapse.
Well, someone brings up a bit of a position of responsibility. Do you support children taking the day off school? Because some people might argue that they're just using it as an excuse to have a bit of time off.
I mean, it's a really interesting point. I think you're better asking the children here, or the young people here, why they're here and why they are taking time off. I don't think it's my place to comment on these people's lives. What I would say is that I agree with them. I think that we desperately need to take all action possible to avert the climate catastrophe that's unveiling.
I mean, I don't even have any lessons today that I've missed, so if I wasn't here, I'd just kind of be at home.
Attendance at school is something that's thrown in our faces. Yeah, there's loads of people miss school on a day-to-day basis every day because they find school a horrible place, an alienating place, a place where they're treated really poorly by teachers, they're humiliated. You know, we have things called like isolations where young people are forced to not speak to people for hours. You know, I think if they're worried that people are missing school, it's not because of protest. The majority of attendance problems are because people think school's a horrible place to be. If they're that worried about it, maybe they should treat some of their students with a bit more respect, I think.
And what's the response been from teachers to these school strikes? Are the teachers supportive?
It depends from who. Some of them it's quiet solidarity, some of them it's open solidarity, some of them are opposed to them. Like any group of people, they're split on their level of support. that tends to be in line with their knowledge as well. I know, like, every geography teacher I know supports the strikes. In fact, one of my geography teachers has been to a lot of climate events. Might be because they know how serious the problem is.
Politics teachers too tend to be quite...
Yeah, politics teachers want people to engage with the political world, and this is a good way to do it.
Teachers who are more engaged politically and socially tend to be more engaged. That's what people say.
I think, you know, people talk about missing education, but I think, you know, taking that human agency, taking that action to actually try and transform the world we live in. What more trial and error education can you get than trying to literally affect science with climate change? You know, we're drawing on our knowledge of the planet, our knowledge of other people, our knowledge of history, of protests, and trying to channel that into transforming the world. Or what we can sit and just memorize facts and regurgitate them on an exam paper, which is truly more educational. The Tories would tell you one thing, but I think I disagree with our answer to that.
Everybody, please just get involved. You know, it's all one world. We're all on it.